Joining me right now is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, a member of the Senate Homeland Security, Budget and Finance Committees. Senator, great to see you. Thanks for being here. How does this play out?
Good morning, Maria. Merry Christmas, by the way.
And to you.
Republicans would be doing Democrats and President Biden a huge favor if we force them to secure the border. I think most of my constituents, I certainly believe that the open border, their policy, is a clear and present danger to America. It is our #1 top priority in terms of national security and homeland security. And the only leverage we have right now is President Biden's desire to fund Ukraine. Now, I'm very sympathetic with the plight of the Ukrainians. I think most Americans are. But I'm also very concerned about, for example, the families who've lost loved ones to fentanyl overdoses, the women who are sex trafficked because of their open border policies, all the human trafficking, all the depredations caused by the open border policy. And oh, by the way, it's not just New York City that's suffering. I was in a smaller town in Wisconsin, population 15,000. They estimate their migrant population is about 5,000, over 400 children in their schools.
Wow.
Bilingual education, they speak a different dialect, so they have to spend over $100,000 on interpreters for the bilingual educators. So this is a massive problem. Over 6 million people have been let into this country under Biden. 1.7 million as detected gotaways. We have no idea who these people are and where they are. When you have Hamas calling for days of rage, this is an enormous national security issue that we must solve right now. And quite honestly, you cannot trust this president to secure the border. No matter what he says, no matter what he signs, we need to keep his feet to the fire by making funding contingent on him actually securing the border.
Well, this is all so disturbing, Senator. The fact that you and your colleagues on each sides of the aisle do not see things the same way. I mean, we all know that a wide open border is a national security threat. Why is it that your colleagues won't admit it? And the same issue when you're looking at corruption. We've seen all these money flows. We've seen what the House Oversight Committee has released. We've seen your investigation and Chuck Grassley's investigation with all this money moving around in Hunter Biden-related accounts. How is it possible that they can totally ignore it and just act like nothing is going on? That is so disturbing to me. I mean, you recently revealed that banks filed at least 6 suspicious activity reports flagging Joe Biden's home address. Tell us more about that, and what did the Democrats say about that?
Well, first of all, I can't get in the head of a Democrat. I have no idea what they're thinking on the border. I think they want to welcome in millions of people that will eventually vote for them. I think it's pretty much that simple. When it comes to Hunter Biden, they're behind their guy. They don't want to do anything that might harm Joe Biden's chance at re-election, although I agree with your previous guest. I seriously doubt that he's going to be their presidential nominee. He's just way too damaged. His policies have been so destructive for this country. But it's not just Biden policies, it's Democrat policies. It's Democrat governance that's destroying this country. So again, I can't explain why they support these things. They're so destructive to America. The open borders, the 40-year high inflation, the war on fossil fuel, the embarrassing and dangerous surrender in Afghanistan that emboldened people like Putin and the Ayatollahs. But that's Democrat governance. They need to be defeated.
Tell us more about those suspicious activity reports that flagged Joe Biden's home address.
Sure. At the time, I didn't know what Joe Biden's home address was, but in hindsight, we went back and we identified 6 of the Treasury reports that really formed the basis for Senator Grassley's and my investigation. 6 of them totaling transactions over $12 million. Now, again, there could be double counting in that. These are just the suspicious reports themselves. But 6 reports, funds flows of more than $12 million listing his address. Now, if you're Hunter Biden, he's in his late 40s, early 50s when these transactions are occurring, right? If you have legitimate businesses, generally legitimate businesses have their own address. They don't use, daddy's address, but that's exactly what Hunter Biden did. There's so much suspicious about what Hunter Biden was doing. The labyrinth of companies obviously set up for money laundering. Again, it's been obvious to me for years that this is a corrupt family. This is a corrupt organization. They've been influence peddling, selling the Biden name, and the fact that Democrats simply won't acknowledge it, it's frustrating beyond belief.
So where does this impeachment inquiry go? I mean, the House Rules Committee expected to meet today to mark up the impeachment inquiry resolution and to vote to formalize the inquiry. It could happen as soon as tomorrow. Utah Senator Mitt Romney has already dismissed it. He says, I'm dismissing all of this. Watch this.
No, I don't see any evidence of that at all. I think before you begin an impeachment inquiry, you ought to have some evidence, some inclination that there's been wrongdoing, and so far there's nothing of that nature that's been provided.
Senator, what do you think Mitt Romney sees that you and your colleagues don't?
Well, he obviously didn't read Senator Grassley in my report. He was opposed to our investigation when he was on my committee. There's a boatload full of evidence. You know, $40,000 check flowing from James Biden to Joe Biden right after James Biden got reimbursed from China. There's all kinds of evidence. It's mounting. The impeachment inquiry is not the same thing as impeachment. When you have the Bidens resisting the subpoenas, when Hunter Biden refuses to sit down for a transcribed interview, a deposition, you need the impeachment inquiry vote to hopefully give them greater leverage in front of a court of law to enforce the subpoenas. It shouldn't be that way. You know, President Trump's children sat down without having to go to court. They honored the subpoenas. Hunter Biden, obviously, all his life believes he's been above the law, and by and large, the corrupt actors inside some of these agencies have allowed him to stay above the law.
Well, it's interesting because Joe Biden is saying, look, I'm not going to be anywhere near any of this. I'm the president, so I get, this special treatment. Meanwhile, Trump said he should be immune from prosecution, and Jack Smith is going all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is agreeing to consider a request from the special counsel, Jack Smith, to conduct an expedited review of former President Trump's claim of special immunity in the case. So Smith wants no delays in the beginning of the Trump trial. He wants that 2020 election trial to begin on March 4th. That's one day before Super Tuesday. Your reaction to what Jack Smith is trying to do in the Supreme Court agreeing it's going to do it expeditedly?
Well, these indictments, these charges are obviously politically motivated. They're timed exquisitely. So many of these charges were known years ago. If they really had a serious case, why didn't they bring the cases then? I mean, this is election interference, but that's what Democrats are excellent at. And so, unfortunately, what too many of our federal officials inside these agencies are excellent at as well is interfering in our elections, always from the leftist point of view.
So, how do you think this plays out? Do we know? I mean, what do you make of Jack Smith doing this?
Again, I'm not a lawyer. I think it's all politically motivated. From my standpoint, I absolutely support the House voting for the impeachment inquiry so they can get the information, so they can expose the corruption so the American people know the truth. I mean, in the end, that's what this is about. This is about the American public deserve to know the truth. They need to understand what corruption is occurring inside of government at the highest levels of government. The news media covers it up. Democrats cover it up. I'm glad that House Republicans are doing everything they can to build on Senator Grassley and my record when it comes to Biden crime family corruption. You've done a great job on that for years. By the way, I think the word is expeditiously, so my apologies. Senator, good to see you. Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas.